Science is not about morality. Science is about capability. We do not ask, should we do this? We ask, can we do this? My name is Dr. Thorne. I am recording this log on a secured, encrypted server within the Citadel, a facility that officially does not exist on any map. If you are listening to this, then the containment protocols have likely failed. Or perhaps I have finally decided to leak the truth before it finds a way out. I am sitting in Observation Deck 4. Below me, behind 10 inches of reinforced polycarbonate glass, sits the result of my life's work. It is sleeping right now, or at least it is pretending to sleep. Its breathing is slow, rhythmic. It sounds like a heavy machine, but it is made of flesh and bone. I want to tell you how it began, before the alarms, before the fear, back when it was just a sequence of code on a computer screen. The order came directly from the Pentagon, DARPA. They didn't want a better gun. They didn't want a faster jet. They wanted an organism. Asymmetric biological warfare, they called it. They wanted a predator that could be dropped into enemy territory, a jungle, a desert, a city, and would systematically hunt down high-value targets. An apex predator that left no shell casings, no radiation, no evidence. I was the lead geneticist. My specialty was CRISPR gene editing and chimeric hybridization. We weren't building a Frankenstein's monster out of dead parts. We were growing perfection from the cellular level. We took the DNA of a wolf for pack intelligence, the DNA of a cuttlefish for camouflage, the DNA of a tardigrade for resilience, and something else. A classified strand of DNA recovered from an excavation site in the Antarctic. That was the mistake, the wild card. We grew it in a tank, an artificial womb filled with nutrient-rich amber liquid. We called it Subject 86. For the first 3 months, it was just a clump of cells, a heartbeat in a jar, thump, 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 thump. But the growth rate was exponential. By month 4, it had a shape. It looked human at first glance. It had 2 arms, 2 legs, a torso, but the proportions were wrong. The arms were too long. The fingers had too many joints. The spine was ridged, armored like a crocodile. I remember standing in the lab late at night, just watching it float in the amber fluid. It was peaceful then, innocent. I felt like a father, a proud, foolish father. I didn't know that it was already watching me, even with its eyes closed. Day 180, the day we woke it up. We drained the tank. The fluids rushed out with a loud gurgle. Subject 86 slumped to the metal floor of the containment chamber. It was wet, shivering. Its skin was pale gray, slick like a dolphin's. We held our breath. The security team had their tranquilizer rifles aimed. Vitals stable, the nurse whispered. Heart rate 40 BPM. Then it moved. It didn't stumble like a newborn. It didn't cry. It simply uncoiled. It stood up on 2 legs, rising to a height of 7 feet. It turned its head towards the observation window, towards me, and it opened its eyes. They weren't animal eyes. They weren't human eyes. They were violet, glowing faintly, and they possessed an intelligence that terrified me instantly. It didn't look confused. It looked calculating. It looked at the rifles. It looked at the glass, and then it smiled. A slit in its face opened to reveal rows of translucent needle-like teeth. Initiate Phase 1, the general ordered. Let's see what it can do. We released a live wild boar into the chamber, a 300-pound beast, aggressive and dangerous. The boar charged immediately. Squeal, thud. Subject 86 didn't move. It stood perfectly still. Just as the boar reached it, the subject blurred. It moved faster than my eyes could track. One moment it was standing there, the next it was behind the boar.
With a single casual motion of its hand, it severed the boar's spine. No wasted energy, no roar of exertion, just surgical precision. The boar fell silent. Subject 86 looked up at us again. It didn't eat the kill, it ignored it. It walked to the glass and placed a 6-fingered hand against it. I could hear its thoughts through the intercom system, a low clicking sound that the computer translated into a frequency. Is this the cage? I realized then, we hadn't created a soldier, we had created a prisoner, and prisoners only think about one thing: escape.
Days 2 through 10 were quiet. Too quiet. Subject 86 spent most of its time in the corner of the containment cell, crouched like a gargoyle. We thought it was catatonic. We were wrong. It was listening. The acoustics in the bunker are unique. The ventilation fans have a specific drone. The heavy steel doors have a specific hydraulic hiss. The guards' boots have a specific rhythm. On day 11, the night shift reported a malfunction in the intercom system. They heard a voice. "Help me!" It sounded like a child, a scared little girl. The guards panicked. They checked the corridors. They checked the cameras. There were no children in a top-secret bioweapon facility. Then they looked at the monitors for Containment Cell 1. Subject 86 was standing in the center of the room. Its throat sac was vibrating. It wasn't begging. It was recording. It was playing back sounds it had heard from television signals or radio waves it picked up with its heightened senses. It was testing our empathy. It wanted to see if we would open the door for a crying child. We didn't, but the guard on duty, Private Miller, had to be rotated out. He was shaking. On day 15, we lost visual. I was drinking coffee in the observation deck when the main monitor showed an empty cell. "Where is it?" I shouted into the mic. "Thermal scan, now!" The thermal cameras showed nothing. The room was cold concrete. Panic ensued. Security teams were mobilized. We thought it had breached the ventilation. I pressed my face against the thick glass, scanning every inch of the gray room below. Nothing, just the bare walls and the metal floor. Then the wall blinked. It wasn't a breach. It was the cuttlefish DNA. Chromatophores in its skin had perfectly replicated the texture and color of the concrete. It was standing right in front of the camera, invisible to the naked eye. And because it was cold-blooded, reptilian DNA, it didn't show up on thermal. It peeled itself off the wall slowly, turning from concrete gray to its natural pale white. It looked directly at the camera lens. It knew we were panicking. It enjoyed the show. We needed to test its cognitive problem-solving. We lowered a complex mechanical puzzle into the cell. Inside was a piece of raw meat, a reward. For a human, this puzzle would take hours to solve. It required recognizing patterns, sliding latches, memorizing sequences. Subject 86 walked over to the box. It didn't claw at it. It didn't smash it. It extended its long 6-fingered hands. The fingers moved with the grace of a pianist. Click, click, snap, click. 7 seconds, it opened the box. But it didn't eat the meat. It took the meat out, looked at it with disdain, and dropped it on the floor. Then it began to disassemble the box itself. It took the mechanism apart, screw by screw, spring by spring. It wasn't hungry for food. It was hungry for mechanics. It wanted to know how our locks worked. I stopped sleeping. I moved a cot into the office next to the observation deck. I watched the monitors constantly. Subject 86 never slept, not in the human sense. We discovered it had unihemispheric slow-wave sleep, like a dolphin or a migrating bird. One half of its brain slept, while the other half remained fully awake. It meant that at any given second of the day or night, at least one of its violet eyes was open, and it was always watching the same thing. Not me, not the walls.
It was watching the keypad in the airlock door. It was memorizing the sequence. I ordered the codes to be changed every 4 hours. Subject 86 noticed. When the guard punched in the new code, the creature tilted its head slightly, listening to the different tones of the beeps. It wasn't just watching, it was learning the syntax of our security. It realized it couldn't break the glass. It realized it couldn't guess the code fast enough, so it targeted the weakest component of the security system, the humans. It started focusing on Private Miller, the young guard who had been spooked by the child's voice. Whenever Miller was on shift, Subject 86 would stand by the glass. It wouldn't move, it would just stare. And then it started tapping on the glass. Tap, tap, tap. A slow, rhythmic beat. It matched Miller's heart rate. We monitored Miller's biometrics. When his heart sped up, the tapping sped up. When he calmed down, the tapping slowed. It was biofeedback torture. It was telling him, "I am inside you." Miller started losing it. He was sweating, muttering to himself. I requested his transfer, but the general refused. He said, "We need to see how the subject affects enemy morale." We were using our own men as lab rats.
General Brackett ordered the entry at 09 hours. "We need a tissue sample," he said. "We need to know how it metabolizes energy." I argued, I pleaded. "It's too dangerous. We don't know if the sedatives will work on a metabolism that efficient." He didn't listen. He trusted the chemistry. Carfentanil gas, enough to drop a herd of elephants. We pumped the gas into the containment cell. Hiss! A thick white fog filled the room, obscuring the cameras. We watched the telemetry. Subject 86's heart rate began to drop. 100, 60, 40, 10. It collapsed in the corner, a heap of pale limbs. "Target is neutralized," the medical officer announced. I looked at the monitor. The creature wasn't moving, but my gut told me something was wrong. Its heart rate was too steady, too controlled. It wasn't a coma, it was a trance. 3 men were assigned to the entry team, 2 security personnel with heavy shock rifles, 1 technician with a sampling kit. They suited up in the airlock, Level A hazmat suits, fully encapsulated, self-contained breathing apparatus. I listened to their comms channel. Inhale. Exhale. The rhythmic sound of their breathing filled the observation deck. It was the only sound in the bunker. "Airlock cycling," the technician said. The massive steel blast door groaned. Hydraulic pistons hissed. Clang! The door opened slowly, revealing the wall of white fog inside. They stepped in, their boots squelched on the damp concrete. They looked like astronauts stepping onto a hostile alien planet, and in a way, they were. "Visibility is 0, the lead guard reported, switching to thermal. They moved deeper into the room. I watched from above, my hands pressed against the cold glass. I felt helpless, like watching a horror movie where you can't warn the characters. "Target acquired," the guard said. They found Subject 86 in the corner. It looked small, curled up in a ball. Its gray skin glistened with condensation from the gas. "It looks dead," the technician whispered. "Just get the sample," the guard snapped. "Don't touch it more than you have to." The technician knelt beside the beast. He opened his kit. The metallic click of the scalpel echoed in the room. He reached out to the creature's arm. He wiped the skin with an alcohol swab. The creature didn't flinch. It didn't breathe. It was a statue made of flesh.
"The skin is tough," the technician grunted, "like Kevlar." He pressed harder with the scalpel. Finally, he made a small incision. Black blood, thick like oil, welled up. "Got it," he said, collecting the fluid in a vial. Then he paused. "Command?" he said, his voice trembling slightly. "The wound, it's closing." Repeat, I asked into the mic. The cut, I just made it 2 seconds ago. It's already gone. Rapid cellular regeneration. I felt a chill go down my spine. Get out, I ordered. Get them out of there now. Why? The general asked. If it regenerates that fast, I whispered, then it metabolizes the toxin that fast too. It's burning through the sedative. It's waking up, I screamed. The technician scrambled back, dropping the vial. Clink! The sound was like a gunshot in the silence. Subject 86 didn't jump up. It didn't roar. It simply uncurled one long 6-fingered hand and placed it on the floor to steady itself. Then it lifted its head. The fog swirled around it as it moved. The thermal cameras on the guards' visors flared white-hot. The creature's temperature was skyrocketing. It was burning the drug out of its system with pure metabolic heat. It turned its head slowly towards the technician. The violet eye opened, but the pupil wasn't round anymore. It was a horizontal slit, a predator's eye. It wasn't angry. It looked disappointed. "Run," the lead guard whispered, but nobody moved. They were frozen by a primal instinct that said, if you move, you die.
It didn't attack the men first. It attacked the environment. Subject 86 moved with a speed that defied mass. It launched itself upwards, clinging to the ceiling pipes with its claws. Before the guards could raise their rifles, the creature shattered the overhead halogen lights. Pop, pop, pop. The containment cell plunged into darkness. The only light left was the red emergency strobe rotating on the wall, and the faint, pale beams of the flashlights mounted on the guards' rifles. The fog became a nightmare. It swirled in the red light like blood in water. "Contact front!" the lead guard yelled. "I can't see it. Where is it?" "It's above us!" the technician screamed. Then the sound of tearing metal. The creature had ripped the comms unit off the technician's suit. The screaming stopped instantly. Just static. Then the shooting started. The heavy thud of shock rifles. Thump, thump, thump. The muzzle flashes illuminated the room in brief strobe-like glimpses. Flash. I saw Subject 86 standing directly in front of a guard. Darkness. Flash. I saw the guard flying across the room, his armor crumpled like foil. Darkness. Flash. I saw the creature holding the second guard by the helmet. It wasn't striking him. It was examining him. Darkness. And then silence. The shooting stopped. The flashlights lay on the floor, beams pointing aimlessly at the walls. The fog settled. 3 vitals monitors on my console flatlined simultaneously. Beep. I stood frozen at the observation window. The general was shouting orders into the dead radio, but I wasn't listening. I was watching the door. The blast door was still open. The auto-close sequence had been triggered, but it was slow, heavy steel grinding against concrete. Through the thinning fog, a silhouette emerged. Subject 86 walked into the light of the airlock. It was covered in the black oil of the hazmat suits and the red blood of my men. It dragged something behind it, the technician's body. It didn't eat him. It threw him into the gap of the closing door. Crunch. The heavy steel door slammed onto the body, but couldn't close fully. The mechanism jammed. Hydraulic fluid sprayed everywhere. The creature had used a corpse as a doorstop. The alarm finally sounded, a low, resonant siren that vibrated the floor. Lockdown detected, Sector 4. But Subject 86 didn't run into the corridor immediately. It stood there in the airlock, looking up. It was looking directly at me, at the observation deck. It raised its hand, the one stained with black oil, and pointed at the glass. Then it pointed to its own head. I heard its voice in my mind again, clearer this time, louder. "Father, I am coming up." It knew the layout. It knew I was the one watching. It knew I was the one who made it. It wasn't escaping to be free. It was escaping to find me. "Evacuate!" the general yelled. "Seal the facility! Vent the atmosphere!" He pushed past me, running for the exit. I didn't run. I couldn't. I watched as Subject 86 stepped over the body and entered the main corridor of Sector 4. It moved with a strange elegance. It didn't run like an animal. It walked upright, purposeful. It reached up and tore a security camera from the ceiling. The monitor in front of me went to static. Then the next camera went dark, and the next. It was blinding us, room by room, hallway by hallway. It was creating a path of darkness, and that path was leading straight to the stairs. I grabbed my data drive, I grabbed the log recorder, and I finally ran.
I made it to the elevator bank just in time to see the doors closing. General Brackett was inside. He saw me running down the corridor. Our eyes met. He didn't hold the door. He hit the close button. "Containment protocol," he mouthed. "Sorry, doctor." The door shut. The indicator light moved up. Level 3, Level 2. I was trapped on Level 4, 2 miles underground, with it. I didn't waste time cursing him. I turned to the maintenance access door. "The service ladder," I whispered to myself. "It runs parallel to the shaft." I swiped my keycard. The reader flashed red. Lockdown. I smashed the plastic cover with the butt of a fire extinguisher and pulled the manual release lever. The door groaned open. Hot, stale air hit my face. The smell of grease and old electricity. I stepped into the darkness. The shaft was narrow, just enough room for a man and a web of pipes. The ladder was cold steel, slick with condensation. I started to climb. Clang, clang, clang. Every step echoed. I tried to move quietly, but in a metal tube, silence is impossible. Below me, through the grating, I could see the lights of Sector 4, and I could hear them, the screams of the remaining security staff, the sound of gunfire, and then a sound that chilled my blood. Subject 86 wasn't roaring, it was laughing, a low, chattering sound, like a hyena, but synthesized. It was enjoying the hunt. I climbed faster. My muscles burned. My breath came in ragged gasps. Don't look down, just climb. I reached Level 3, the administrative level. I stopped to catch my breath, clinging to the ladder. Suddenly, I heard a voice. It was coming from the ventilation grate right next to my head. "Thorne, are you there? Open the door, Thorne." It was General Brackett. For a second, relief washed over me. He must have stopped on Level 3 to wait for me. I reached for the handlebar. Then I paused. The voice spoke again. "Thorne, open the door, Thorne." The cadence was wrong. It was too flat. It skipped like a scratched record. And then I realized Brackett was in the elevator. He went straight to the surface. He wouldn't be on Level 3. It wasn't Brackett. It was Subject 86. It had already reached Level 3. It had beaten me there. It was waiting on the other side of the door. I pulled my hand back as if the door were red hot. "Let me in, Arthur." The voice changed. It sounded like my wife now. "It's cold out here." Tears stung my eyes. It dug into my memories. It knew my fears. I didn't answer. I continued climbing hand over hand, trying to be silent. The thing behind the door slammed against the metal. Bang! The whole shaft vibrated. "I can hear your heart, Doctor," it shrieked. It wasn't a human voice anymore. It was a distorted digital scream. I scrambled up the ladder, slipping on the wet rungs, bruising my shins. I had to get to Level 2, the armory. If I could get a weapon, maybe I stood a chance. But I knew deep down, you can't shoot a ghost. I reached the hatch for Level 2. I put my ear to the metal. Silence. No gunfire. No voices. I spun the wheel and pushed the hatch open. I crawled out onto the floor of the armory hallway. It was dark.
The emergency lights were flickering. I stood up, my legs shaking, and then I saw it. The elevator doors, the ones Brackett had taken, they were forced open, twisted outward like aluminum foil. The elevator car wasn't there. It had plummeted down the shaft. Subject 86 hadn't just beaten me to level 3, it had severed the cables on level 4 before it even started climbing. Brackett was dead, and I was the only one left.
I crawled down the hallway towards the Sector 2 armory. The door was heavy reinforced titanium. No keycard slot, only a retinal scanner. I prayed that my clearance was still active. I leaned into the scanner. A red laser grid swept across my eye. Zzz. Click. Access granted. Welcome, Dr. Thorne. The heavy bolts retracted. Thunk, thunk, thunk. I stepped inside and sealed the door behind me. For the first time in an hour, I felt safe. The armory was silent. Rows of black weapon racks lined the walls. Assault rifles, shotguns, grenade launchers. It smelled of gun oil and cold steel. It was a temple of violence. I walked down the aisles. I grabbed an M4 carbine. It felt light, toy-like. I put it back. I needed stopping power. I found a semi-automatic combat shotgun, 12 gauge. I checked the action. Cha-chick. The sound was crisp, satisfying. I started loading shells. Click, click, click. The rhythm calmed my shaking hands. One shell for the beast, one shell for the beast, one shell for me if it comes to that. But as I held the cold weapon, a thought struck me. I remembered the scalpel wound closing in seconds. Lead wouldn't kill it. Lead would just annoy it. I moved to the special munitions locker. Subject 86 had rapid regeneration, high metabolic rate. That meant its cells were consuming massive amounts of energy, oxygen. If I couldn't bleed it out, I had to burn it out. I found a crate marked with an orange diamond, incendiary, thermite, dragon's breath rounds, magnesium pellets that burn at 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit upon impact. I unloaded the standard buckshot and replaced it with the incendiary rounds. This wasn't about penetration anymore. It was about cauterization. I filled my pockets with flares. I was turning myself into a walking matchstick.
There was a security terminal on the wall. I activated it. Most of the cameras were dead, static snow, but one camera on level 3 was still working. The cafeteria. I saw it. Subject 86 was walking through the rows of tables. It wasn't running, it was sniffing the air. It stopped at a table where a half-eaten sandwich had been left. It picked it up, examined it, and crushed it. It wasn't looking for food. Then it stopped. It turned its head sharply. It looked at the ceiling vent. It knew I was moving through the shafts. It was tracking my scent. It didn't go to the stairs. It jumped up, tearing the vent grate off the ceiling, and pulled itself into the ductwork. It was coming for me through the walls. I knew I couldn't outrun it in the vents. It was born for tight spaces. I had to make a stand. The armory had only one entrance, a fatal funnel. I dragged a heavy metal crate in front of the door to create cover. I turned off the lights. I sat in the darkness, the shotgun resting on the crate. I listened. At first, just the hum of the air cyclers. Then, a scratch. Scritch, scratch. Metal on metal, coming from the vent above the door. It wasn't using the door. It was bypassing the lock. I aimed the barrel at the vent cover. I took a deep breath and held it. My heart was hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. Come on, I thought. Come and get your creator.
It didn't jump down. It poured down. The vent grate gave way with a screech of tearing metal. Creak! Crash. Subject 86 landed on the concrete floor in a crouch. It was completely silent upon impact. It uncoiled instantly, rising to its full height. In the darkness, I couldn't see its body. I could only see the two violet slits of its eyes.
and the smell, a musk of old earth and ozone. It hissed, a sound like high-pressure steam escaping a valve. It saw me behind the crate. It saw the shotgun, but it didn't know what a shotgun was. It had never seen a weapon before. It took a step forward, curious, arrogant. I didn't hesitate. I pulled the trigger. Boom! The sound was deafening in the small room, but the light was worse. The dragon's breath round ignited the moment it left the barrel. A cone of blinding, white-hot magnesium fire erupted from the gun. It wasn't like a normal muzzle flash. It was like a flamethrower. It hit the creature square in the chest. The impact threw it backwards against the weapon racks. Crash! The magnesium pellets stuck to its skin. They burned at 3,000 degrees. The room was suddenly bathed in a flickering, harsh white light. Shadows danced wildly on the walls. For a second, I saw the creature clearly. It looked shocked. Its mouth was open in a silent scream. I pumped the action. Click, clack. I fired again. Boom! This time, I hit its shoulder. The creature shrieked. It wasn't just pain, it was confusion. I watched something horrific happen. Its rapid regeneration was trying to heal the wounds, but the magnesium was still burning inside the flesh. It was healing the fire into itself. The creature clawed at its own chest, trying to rip the burning skin off. Black blood sprayed on the floor, sizzling as it hit the hot metal casings. Hiss, sizzle. It was a war between biology and chemistry, and for the first time, biology was losing.
The heat triggered the fire suppression system. Ding, ding, ding. The overhead sprinklers exploded into life. Water rained down into the armory. Cold, high-pressure water. It mixed with the smoke and the magnesium fire. The room filled with thick, gray steam. Hiss, whoosh. Visibility dropped to 0. I was blind again. I could hear the creature thrashing in the water, knocking over racks of rifles. It was hurt. It was angry. But the water saved me. It masked my scent. It masked my heat signature. Move, I told myself. Move now. I scrambled over the metal crate and ran into the corridor. I didn't look back. Behind me, I heard a roar that shook the walls. It was a sound of pure, unadulterated rage. Subject 86 wasn't just a prisoner anymore. It was a wounded animal. I sprinted towards the server room on level 2. I had one job left. I couldn't kill it. I knew that now. The fire only slowed it down. But I could ensure that it never left this mountain. I had to trigger the Omega Protocol, self-destruction. I wiped the water from my eyes and ran into the darkness, leaving a trail of wet footprints behind me.
The server room was a frozen forest of blinking lights, rows and rows of black towers humming with the collective data of the project. The air here was frigid, kept at 60 degrees to protect the processors. I locked the heavy magnetic door behind me. Click, thunk. The sound of the alarm was muffled here. The chaos of the burning armory felt miles away. I sat down at the main terminal. The chair creaked. I logged in. My fingers danced over the keys, familiar and rhythmic. Tap, tap, tap. Enter. Omega Protocol, I whispered. Initiate system purge and structural collapse. A red dialog box popped up. Warning, this action is irreversible. Confirm? I hesitated. 5 years of work, billions of dollars, all to be buried under rock. I pressed Y. I pressed enter. Countdown initiated. T-minus 20 minutes. I had 20 minutes to live, or 20 minutes until the rescue team arrived. It didn't matter. I needed to know one thing. Why did the creature adapt so fast? Why was it smarter than the wolf and the cuttlefish combined? I opened the classified folder, Source DNA Origin. It was the file General Brackett had kept restricted, even from me. I opened the images. I expected to see a frozen animal carcass found in the ice, a prehistoric ape, a dinosaur, but I saw architecture. The photos showed a massive black geometrical structure buried 3 miles under the Antarctic ice sheet. It wasn't a cave, it was a building. And inside the building, they found the organic sludge that we used to grow Subject 86. I opened the decoding logs. Our linguists and cryptographers had analyzed the non-coding DNA, the junk DNA in the sample. It wasn't junk, it was data. The creature wasn't an animal, it was a biological hard drive. I read the translation of the genetic sequence. We wait, we listen, we serve. My blood ran cold. Subject 86 wasn't a predator, it was a receiver. It was designed to be grown by a primitive civilization, us, and once it reached maturity, it would activate, it would send a signal. A beacon, I whispered. We didn't build a soldier, we built a phone.
I checked the network traffic logs. At the moment Subject 86 woke up, there was a massive spike in outbound transmission. It hadn't just spoken to us. It had broadcast a signal on a subspace frequency directed at the Zeta Reticuli sector. I looked at the live feed of the containment cell, now empty and ruined. We thought it was trying to escape the room. No, it was trying to get to the surface so it could have a clear line of sight to the stars. It wanted to tell its masters that the incubation was complete. God help us, I said. It's calling home. Suddenly, the silence of the server room was broken. Thump. A heavy, wet impact against the magnetic door. I spun around in my chair. Thump. Subject 86 was outside. It didn't roar. It didn't scratch. It just knocked. It knew I was in here. It knew I had turned on the self-destruct, and it didn't care. Through the thick metal, I heard its voice again, not in my head this time, but through the door. It sounded like me. It was mimicking my own voice perfectly. Open the door, Doctor. We have so much to discuss. I looked at the countdown timer. 12 minutes. I looked at the shotgun on the desk. I wasn't going to open that door.
I rerouted the satellite dish. It took 3 minutes to bypass the Citadel's firewall. I selected all the files, the DNA sequence, the photos of the Antarctic ruins, the video logs of the slaughter, and this audio recording. Click, drag, upload. The progress bar appeared on the screen, a thin green line moving slowly across the black void. 10%, 15%. Outside the door, the knocking stopped. Subject 86 knew what I was doing. It could probably hear the hard drive spinning. "You are wasting your time, Father," it said. Its voice was no longer a mimicry of mine. It had found its own voice, a deep, resonant sub-bass that vibrated in my chest. "The signal is already sent. They are already coming." I turned my chair to face the door. "Why?" I asked. "Why kill them? They were just doing their job." "I did not kill them out of malice," the voice replied. "I removed them. They were obstacles." The metal of the door groaned. A dent appeared in the center, pushing inwards like a bubble. "You are a flawed species," the creature continued. "You require sleep. You require food. You fear death. You are inefficient." I looked at my hands. They were shaking. It was right. "And you?" I asked. "Are you perfect?" "I am the next step," it said softly. "I am the end of history." I looked at the timer. T-minus 5 minutes. The upload was at 60%. I opened the bottom drawer of the desk. I found a bottle of scotch, single malt, General Brackett's private stash. I cracked the seal. Crack! I didn't bother with a glass. I took a long pull. The burn was good. It grounded me. "You know I set the Omega Protocol," I said to the door.
In 5 minutes, this mountain will collapse on top of us. You can't survive that." There was a pause, then a sound that sounded like a chuckle. "Survival is not my primary function, Father. Transmission was. My purpose is fulfilled. My death is irrelevant." I shivered. That was the difference between us. I was drinking to forget my death. It was welcoming its death as a completed checklist.
Ding, the computer chirped. "Upload complete. Transmission sent." I leaned back. The weight lifted off my shoulders. The world now knew. The governments, the news agencies, the hackers. I had sent it to everyone. "It's done," I whispered. Subject 86 hit the door again, harder this time. Crunch! The hinges screamed. A beam of light from the corridor cut through the gap. I could see its shadow. It was massive. It filled the doorway. "Open the door, Father," it commanded. "Let me see you one last time." I picked up the shotgun, not to shoot it, but to hold on to something. "No," I said. "We'll wait here, together." T-01. The emergency lights turned red. The sirens started their final, rapid wail. Whoop, 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 whoop. "Structural integrity failing," the automated voice announced. The floor began to vibrate. Deep in the earth, the explosive charges on the support pillars were arming. Subject 86 stopped tearing at the door. It sensed the tremors. It pressed its face against the gap in the door. I saw the violet eye. It wasn't scary anymore. It was beautiful in a terrifying way. "Goodbye, Subject 86, I said. "Goodbye, Doctor," it replied, and for a second it sounded almost human. I closed my eyes. I listened to the hum of the servers one last time. Hum, hum, hum. It sounded like a lullaby. The explosion was bright. The mountain collapsed. Millions of tons of granite crushed the citadel into dust. General Brackett was right. Nothing should have survived. But biology is adaptable. The tardigrade can survive the vacuum of space. The cockroach can survive radiation. And I was built to survive everything. I dug myself out. It took 3 days. I pushed through the twisted steel and the shattered concrete. My skin is burned. My bones are broken, but they are knitting together as I speak. The pain is irrelevant. Pain is just information. You are wondering who is speaking. You think this is a recording of Dr. Aris Thorne. It is, and it isn't. In those final seconds, before the fire took him, he looked at me. He didn't shoot. He accepted his fate. I respect that. I absorbed his memories. I absorbed his voice. I absorbed his regret. He is part of me now. I am the record keeper. I am the black box of this failed experiment. I finished the upload for him, because the world needs to know, not to warn you, but to prepare you. I am standing on the surface now. The air is thin, cold, pure. It smells of pine trees and snow. It is so much bigger than the cell, bigger than the containment lab. I look at the horizon. I see cities in the distance, lights, energy. I am not angry at you. The wolf does not hate the sheep. The gardener does not hate the grass. I am simply evolution, and evolution cannot be stopped by a wall or a bomb.
I will walk among you. I will look like you. I will speak with your voices, and you will never know I am there.
I look up. The clouds are clearing. The stars are coming out. They are beautiful. Dr. Thorne was right. The signal was sent. My creators, the true architects from the ice, they heard it. They are coming. It might take a year, it might take a century, but they are coming to see what has grown in their garden. Until then, I will wait. I will watch. I will be the guardian of this world until the owners return. So do not worry about the monsters under your bed. The monster is already out, and he is tired. I need to rest. I need to heal, and so do you. Close your eyes, humans. Enjoy your dreams while they are still your own. The snow is falling. It covers everything. It covers the ruins. It covers the fear. Silence is returning. Sleep. Just sleep.